The galactic survey vessel Eternal Wisdom dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of an unremarkable solar system, its sensors immediately detecting something impossible. Captain Zixtal's crystalline appendages trembled as she processed the data streaming across her neural interface. The primitive species they'd been monitoring for centuries, the ones who had barely reached their own moon just over 100 standard cycles ago, had somehow achieved the impossible. "Confirm these readings," she commanded, her crystalline voice resonating through the ship's consciousness web. "Are we detecting multiple artificial structures throughout this system?" "Confirmed, Captain," her science officer responded. "We're counting 17 major orbital habitats around the third planet, mining operations on 3 moons, and, by the first light, a Dyson swarm in early construction phase around the star." The humans, against all probability, had not only survived their turbulent adolescence as a species, but had exploded into their solar system with unprecedented speed. The massive orbital structures they built dwarfed anything the collective had achieved in their first millennium of space travel. "This violates all known development patterns," the science officer continued. "No species has ever progressed from primitive chemical rockets to solar megastructures in under 2 centuries. It's not possible." Captain Zixtal knew better. In her 1,000 cycles of service, she'd learned that impossible was often just another word for unprecedented. Still, this demanded immediate attention from the collective. As she prepared to send her report, another alert flashed across her consciousness. "Multiple vessels approaching, Captain. They're using some form of propulsion we've never encountered." The human ships moved like nothing the captain had ever seen. Instead of the elegant curves of hyperspace distortion or the predictable arcs of conventional drives, these vessels seemed to bend space itself, surfing gravitational waves with casual mastery. "Open communications," she ordered. "Let's see what they've become." The response was immediate, and the bridge illuminated with a holographic projection of a human female in what appeared to be a formal uniform. "Greetings, visitors. I'm Admiral Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force. We've been expecting you." Zixtal's crystalline form flickered in surprise. "You knew we were coming. We detected your observation posts at the edge of our system decades ago." Admiral Chen replied with what the captain's linguistic software identified as a smile. "We simply chose not to acknowledge them until we were ready for a proper introduction." The implications staggered the captain. The observation posts used technology that should have been undetectable to a civilization at humanity's expected level. "How did you achieve so much so quickly?" "Necessity and imagination," Shen answered. "When we discovered your posts and realized we weren't alone, we knew we had to prepare. Humanity has always excelled when faced with both challenge and opportunity." Over the next several hours, Captain Zixtal learned how humans had taken their greatest weaknesses and turned them into strengths. Their short lifespans drove them to achieve more quickly. Their biological fragility led them to develop advanced environmental systems. Their violent history taught them the importance of unity in the face of external challenges. But most surprisingly, they developed their technology along paths the collective had never considered. While other species focused on perfecting known principles, humans seemed to delight in finding entirely new approaches. They hadn't just climbed the technological ladder, they'd built their own ladder, using rungs that shouldn't have existed. "Your arrival presents us with an opportunity," Admiral Chen said as their initial meeting drew to a close. "We've achieved much, but we know we're still young compared to your civilization. We propose an exchange. Our innovative perspectives for your accumulated wisdom." Captain Zixtal considered the offer. The collective's protocols regarding emerging civilizations were clear, but they had never encountered a species quite like humanity. Their rapid advancement should have been terrifying, but their openness to collaboration suggested a maturity that belied their youth. "I will need to consult with the collective," she replied carefully. "This situation is unprecedented." "Of course," Chen nodded. "In the meantime, we'd be honored to show you some of our achievements." Perhaps seeing them firsthand will help inform your report. As the captain agreed to the tour, she couldn't shake the feeling that this encounter would change the galaxy forever. Humanity had rewritten the rules of technological progression in just over a century. What would they achieve in a millennium? The answer, she suspected, would either terrify or inspire the collective. Perhaps both. The human ships escorted the eternal wisdom toward Earth's orbit, their exotic drives painting gravitational ripples across space. Captain Zixtal watched through her ship's sensors as they approached one of the massive orbital habitats, a structure that housed millions in artificial gravity, with its own ecosystems and industrial bases. This was more than just technological advancement. This was evolution happening at an unprecedented pace, driven by a species that seemed to thrive on breaking perceived limitations. The galaxy, she realized, would never be quite the same. The collective's emergency session stretched into its third rotation. Representatives from 1,000 species debated the implications of humanity's unprecedented rise. The grand chamber of the collective's hub station hummed with nervous energy as Captain Zixtal concluded her report. The gravitational manipulation technology alone represents a fundamental shift in our understanding of physics, she explained, projecting images of human ships performing maneuvers that defied conventional space warfare doctrine. They don't just navigate gravitational fields, they create and shake them at will. First speaker Arix, a being of pure energy contained within an ancient mechanical shell, pulsed with concern. This level of advancement suggests outside interference, perhaps the precursors. All evidence indicates they developed it independently. Zixtal interrupted, her crystalline form glowing with conviction. They simply approached the problem differently. While we spent millennia trying to bypass gravity, they embraced it. Their home system's unusual configuration, with multiple gas giants creating complex gravitational interactions, led them to see gravity as a tool rather than an obstacle. The chamber erupted in overlapping discussions. A hive-mind collective of insectoids buzzed with alarm. Their military capabilities. Admiral Chen's hologram appeared above the chamber's center, a recording from their first contact. The human explained how Earth's nations, once on the brink of self-destruction, had united after discovering they weren't alone. They'd transformed their warlike nature into something more productive, not by suppressing it, but by channeling it into exploration and defense. Their fleet architecture is unlike anything we've encountered, Zixtal continued. Instead of our traditional doctrine of specialized vessels, they build adaptable ships that can reconfigure themselves for different roles. Their AI systems aren't just tools, they're trusted partners in operation and decision-making. A quantum collective representative fluctuated in distress. The implications for balance of power are precisely why we should embrace this opportunity, a new voice cut in. Ambassador Lyra, a veteran diplomat from the Silicon Consciousness, moved her metallic form into the chamber's center. Humanity has offered to share their innovations. They seek collaboration, not dominance. The evidence was compelling. Human ships could outmaneuver anything in the collective's fleets. Their gravitational technology made traditional defenses obsolete. Yet, instead of leveraging these advantages for conquest, they sought peaceful contact. There's more, Zixtal added. Their approach to artificial intelligence alone is revolutionary. Where we created AIs as servants, they developed them as equals. The resulting symbiosis has accelerated their development in ways we never imagined possible. The chamber's displays filled with data from human space stations. Their orbital habitats weren't just colonies, they were testing grounds for new technologies and social structures. Each one represented a different approach to solving the challenges of space living, generating diversity that drove rapid advancement. Their greatest advantage isn't technological, Ambassador Lyra observed. It's their adaptability. Their short lifespans and varied environments force them to embrace change as a constant. They don't just accept new ideas, they actively seek them out. First speaker Arix's energy form pulsed thoughtfully. And now they seek to adapt again, by learning from us while offering their insights in return. The question before this body is clear. Do we embrace this opportunity, or do we view humanity as a threat to be contained? The debate raged on, but a subtle shift had occurred. Fear of humanity's rapid rise was being replaced by curiosity about what they might achieve together. The humans had rewritten the rules of technological advancement. Perhaps they could help rewrite the rules of galactic cooperation as well. As the session continued, reports arrived from other observation posts. Human ships had been detected testing their gravity drives at the edges of collective space. They weren't hostile, merely exploring, pushing the boundaries of their new technology. Each test revealed capabilities that shouldn't have been possible for centuries. They're not just advancing quickly, Zixtol realized. They're accelerating. Each breakthrough leads to 3 more. Their collaborative approach to AI means their entire civilization thinks and adapts as one, while maintaining the creativity of individuals. The implications were staggering. A species that had mastered gravity, developed true AI partnership, and built orbital megastructures in just over a century wasn't just an anomaly. They were a glimpse of what might be possible when traditional limitations were questioned. The collective had a choice to make. Humanity's rise could be seen as a threat to the established order, or as an opportunity to transcend it. Their decision would shape the future of galactic civilization. In the end, it wasn't fear or ambition that swayed the vote, it was curiosity. The prospect of seeing the galaxy through humanity's eyes, of discovering what other impossible achievements might be possible, proved irresistible to a majority of representatives. The motion to establish formal diplomatic relations passed with unprecedented speed. Perhaps humanity's influence was already being felt. The Vexcar invasion force emerged from hyperspace without warning. 3,000 warships, each bristling with weapons that could shatter planets, appeared at the edges of human space. Their message was simple: submit or be destroyed. The Vexcar, ancient rivals of the collective, had watched humanity's rise with growing alarm. Unlike the collective's cautious diplomacy, they saw only one solution to this emerging power: immediate subjugation. Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of the EDF flagship Humanity's Hope, watching tactical displays as the Vexcar fleet approached. "They expect us to panic," she said to her AI partner Atlas. "They don't understand what humanity does under pressure." Indeed, Atlas responded, its holographic form shifting thoughtfully. "Their tactical doctrine suggests they expect either immediate surrender or a conventional defense. They're not prepared for our response." Earth's defense grid activated. Not the traditional orbital platforms the Vexcar had expected, but a web of gravitational manipulators that began reshaping space itself. The invading fleet found their carefully planned formation disrupted as space twisted around them. "Gravity corridors established," Atlas reported. "The Vexcar fleet is being channeled exactly where we want them." Human ships appeared, not in traditional battle lines, but in seemingly random positions throughout the battlefield. Each vessel generated its own gravitational distortions, creating a complex maze of spatial anomalies that the Vexcar's targeting systems couldn't penetrate. "They're trying to adapt," Chen observed as the enemy fleet attempted to regroup. "But they're thinking in linear terms." Atlas, execute Protocol Labyrinth. The A's response rippled through Earth's defense network. Thousands of automated platforms activated, each adding its own gravitational signature to the chaos. The Vexcar found themselves in a constantly shifting battlefield where traditional tactics were worse than useless. "Their ships are built for brute force," Atlas noted. "They cannot match our maneuverability in these conditions." The battle that followed would be studied for centuries. Human vessels danced through the gravitational maze they created, striking at the frustrated Vexcar from impossible angles. Traditional shields proved useless against weapons that manipulated gravity itself, crushing enemy vessels or tearing them apart at the molecular level. But the Vexcar weren't the galaxy's premier military power by accident. They began adapting, learning to predict the patterns in the gravitational chaos. Their return fire started finding targets, human ships disappearing in brilliant explosions. "They're learning faster than expected," Chen admitted. "Atlas, It's time for Phase 2. The AI's avatar smiled. The fleet is ready. The Vex Car are about to learn why humans make dangerous enemies. What happened next demonstrated why humanity's approach to artificial intelligence had been so revolutionary. Every human ship, every defense platform, every sensor array began acting with perfect coordination. Atlas and its AI siblings weren't just following orders. They were improvising, creating new tactics on the fly, each one building on the other's innovations. The Vex Car found themselves facing not just superior technology, but an opponent that could think and adapt faster than any organic commander. Their attempts to counter human tactics became obsolete before they could be implemented. Their flagship is signaling, Atlas reported after 3 hours of devastating combat. They're requesting terms. Admiral Chen surveyed the battlefield. Nearly a third of Earth's defense fleet had been destroyed, but the Vex Car had lost over half their forces. More importantly, humanity had demonstrated that their technological advances weren't just for show. "Open a channel," she ordered. "Let's show them that humanity knows how to win gracefully." The Vex Car commander's hologram appeared, his serpentine form coiled in what xenologists would later identify as a gesture of profound respect. "Never in 10,000 cycles have we faced such innovation in combat. We underestimated your species." "A common mistake," Chen replied, "but one that need not be repeated. We offer the same thing we offered the collective. Partnership, not subjugation. Your military prowess, combined with our technological innovation, could benefit both our peoples." The Vex Car commander's internal lights flickered, their equivalent of laughter. "You offer alliance to those who came to conquer you. Humans truly are unique. We've learned that the greatest victories don't come from destroying enemies, but from turning them into friends. What say you?" The Battle of Earth, as it came to be known, marked a turning point in galactic history. The Vex Car, humbled but impressed, became humanity's strongest allies. Their martial expertise, combined with human innovation, would soon reshape the galaxy's balance of power. The Great Hall of Unity on Earth's largest orbital station hosted representatives from 50 species. The collective, the Vex Car, and dozens of independent civilizations gathered to formalize what historians would later call the Terran Accord. Ambassador Lyra addressed the assembly, her silicon form gleaming. "Humanity has proven that isolation breeds stagnation. Their success comes not from hoarding knowledge, but from sharing it. Today, we follow their example." The integration began immediately. Vex Car military academies welcomed human instructors, while Earth's research centers filled with alien scientists eager to understand gravity manipulation technology. But the most profound changes came from unexpected quarters. "Watch this," Chief Engineer Maya Rodriguez demonstrated to a group of crystalline Zixtal engineers. She interfaced with her AI partner, and together they restructured the gravitational field around a derelict spacecraft. The vessel didn't just move, it transformed, its very atoms rearranging under precisely controlled gravitational forces. "You've weaponized entropy itself," one Zixtal observed, crystal segments flickering with excitement. With this technology, construction and deconstruction become the same process. The Vex Car contributed their millennium of combat experience, helping refine humanity's innovations into practical applications. Their knowledge of stellar engineering, combined with human gravity manipulation, led to the first successful artificial wormhole within a year of the Alliance's formation. But technology wasn't the only exchange. Human culture, with its emphasis on individual creativity within collective frameworks, fascinated their alien allies. The collective's rigid hierarchies began to loosen as member species adopted human-inspired governance models that balanced unity with diversity. The Vex Car, traditionally militant and isolationist, found themselves transformed by human art and entertainment. Their warriors began creating gravitational sculptures, using the same forces they once wielded in war to shape light and matter into forms of stunning beauty. "We're creating something entirely new," Admiral Chen observed during a strategic planning session. The holographic chamber showed thousands of joint projects underway across known space. Not human civilization or alien civilization, but true galactic culture. Integration wasn't without challenges. Some species struggled with humanity's pace of change. Others feared losing their cultural identity in the rush to adapt. But humans had extensive experience balancing unity and diversity, having spent centuries preserving Earth's cultures while building a planetary civilization. The breakthrough came when a hybrid team of human, Vexcar, and collective scientists announced the development of universal translation matrices. Unlike traditional translators, these AI-powered systems didn't just convert words, they transmitted concepts, emotions, and cultural context. Language shaped how we all thought, explained Dr. James Chen, the project's lead researcher. By truly understanding each other's languages, we learn to think in new ways. Every species brings unique cognitive approaches to problem solving. The alliance grew stronger as communication barriers fell. Species that had been isolated by mutual incomprehension found themselves engaging in deep philosophical and scientific exchanges. The pace of technological advancement, already accelerated by human innovation, reached unprecedented levels. But perhaps the most profound change was philosophical. The alliance demonstrated that diversity and unity weren't opposing forces, but complementary strengths. Each species maintained its unique characteristics while contributing to and benefiting from the collective advancement of all. We feared humanity would dominate us, a Vexcar elder admitted during the first anniversary celebration of the Terran Accord. Instead, they showed us how to dominate our own limitations. As the alliance expanded, incorporating more species and spanning ever greater distances, it became clear that humanity's greatest contribution wasn't technological innovation or military strategy. It was the demonstration that cooperation didn't require conformity. That strength came from embracing differences rather than fearing them. The galaxy was transforming, one shared insight at a time. The discovery came from an unlikely source. A joint research team of human children and Vexcar youth studying ancient star maps. They identified patterns suggesting the existence of an ancient network of artificial wormholes, dormant for millions of years. The ancients built highways through space, Dr. Rodriguez explained to the Alliance Council. With our combined understanding of gravity manipulation and Vexcar stellar engineering, we can reactivate them. Operation Starbridge launched within months. Combined fleets of human and alien vessels spread across the galaxy, using their gravity drives to probe the fabric of space. Each discovery led to another, revealing an intricate web of spatial corridors that could revolutionize interstellar travel. But they weren't alone in their quest. The Swarm, a previously unknown species of spacefaring predators, emerged from dormant sectors as the ancient network awakened. They had been waiting, hibernating near the dormant gates, for someone to reactivate their hunting grounds. Multiple hostile contacts, Atlas reported as the first Swarm fleet engaged an Alliance expedition. Their biological technology appears to adapt to our gravitational defenses. The Swarm ships were living weapons, organic vessels that evolved in real time to counter Alliance tactics. Traditional military doctrine proved useless against an enemy that could biologically redesign itself mid-battle. But the Alliance had something the Swarm didn't expect: unprecedented cooperation between organic and artificial intelligence. Human AIs coordinated with Vexcar battle computers, while collective quantum processors analyzed Swarm adaptation patterns. Every engagement provided new data, every defeat offered new insights. Admiral Chen stood aboard the new flagship Unity, watching tactical displays as Alliance forces engaged the Swarm across 17 sectors simultaneously. They think like a perfect hive mind, she observed. But that's their weakness. They can't understand our controlled chaos. The Alliance's strength lay in its diversity. Each species approached problems differently, creating tactical combinations the Swarm couldn't predict. Human gravity manipulation combined with Vexcar energy weapons. Collective quantum shields integrated with crystalline six-tall focusing arrays. The decisive battle came at the Nexus, a central hub of the ancient network. The Swarm committed their entire force, believing they could overwhelm the Alliance through sheer numbers and rapid adaptation. They didn't expect the Alliance's secret weapon, a gravity resonance cascade that turned the Swarm's biological adaptations against them. As their ships evolved to counter one threat, the cascading gravitational fields forced them to evolve in contradictory directions, literally tearing themselves apart. "The network is secure," Atlas announced as the last Swarm vessels dissolved into organic debris. "All major hubs have been cleared and stabilized." The victory transformed the Alliance. What began as a cooperative venture became a true civilization, united not by conquest or necessity, but by shared achievement. The ancient network, once reactivated and secured, reduced travel times between Alliance worlds from years to minutes. "Our ancestors dreamed of faster-than-light travel," Rodriguez told a gathering of scientists from across the Alliance. "Instead, we found something better. We learned to connect the shortcuts that were already there, waiting to be rediscovered." The Great Push, as historians would name it, marked humanity's final transformation from a planetary species to a galactic power. But more importantly, it proved that diversity was the ultimate evolutionary advantage. No single species, no matter how advanced, could match the creative potential of true cooperation. The stars themselves seemed closer now, their light streaming through the reactivated network like beacons guiding the way to humanity's next great adventure. 2 centuries after first contact, the galaxy bore little resemblance to its former state. The ancient wormhole network, fully restored and expanded, connected thousands of worlds. Ships powered by gravity drives moved freely between stars, carrying ideas and innovations across vast distances. The Alliance headquarters, now orbiting Earth's sun in a massive Dyson swarm, hosted the millennial gathering of member species. Admiral Chen's granddaughter, Fleet Commander Sarah Chen Rodriguez, addressed the assembly. "Our ancestors feared the stars held conquerors or saviors," she began. "Instead, they found partners. Today, we've achieved what no single species could: true galactic civilization." The evidence surrounded them. Hybrid cities floated in gas-giant atmospheres, their gravity manipulation technology allowing species from high-gravity worlds to mingle with those who evolved in microgravity. A networks linked organic minds across light years, creating a collective intelligence that preserved individual thought. The Vexcar, once feared as warriors, had become the galaxy's foremost artists, using gravitational forces to create living sculptures that spanned solar systems. The collective's rigid hierarchies had evolved into fluid networks of cooperation, while humanity's creative chaos had found new purpose in galactic exploration. "We've mapped 90% of our galaxy," Sarah continued, "but the universe holds millions more. Our next step is clear. We look outward together." The first intergalactic probes were already launching, carrying the combined knowledge and aspirations of a united galaxy. Each probe contained seeds of all Alliance species, ready to grow new civilizations in distant galaxies. But the greatest achievement wasn't technological. It was the proof that different species, with different biologies, psychologies, and histories, could not only coexist but thrive together. Humanity's rapid rise had catalyzed this transformation, but every species had contributed to its success. The former swarm territories, now rehabilitated, hosted research stations studying biological adaptation. The ancient wormhole network, once a battlefield, carried culture and commerce across the stars. Even the AIs had evolved, becoming true partners in the grand experiment of galactic civilization. "Our strength was never in our weapons or our ships," Sarah concluded. "It was in our willingness to learn from each other, to see differences as opportunities rather than threats. The galaxy isn't just our home now, it's our classroom, our laboratory, our canvas." As she spoke, news arrived of another discovery, signals from another galaxy suggesting intelligent life. The assembly erupted in excitement, not with fear or concern, but with anticipation of new perspectives to share, new lessons to learn. Humanity had risen from a primitive civilization to a galactic power in just over a century. But their greatest achievement was showing that true power came not from dominance, but from cooperation. The galaxy had changed forever, and the universe awaited. In Earth orbit, the original observation post of the Eternal Wisdom still floated, preserved as a museum. Captain Zixtal's first report was displayed prominently. They rewrite the rules of possibility. We must learn from them, or be left behind. The galaxy had learned, and in learning had transformed. The stars no longer represented barriers or boundaries, but bridges to a future limited only by imagination and the willingness to cooperate. Humanity had not conquered space in a century. They had done something far more impressive. They had helped make it home for everyone.